Hi there, my name is Matthew for Randolph Games, and I'm here to talk to you today about Rollie, a push your luck dice game with a casino feel for 2 to 6 players, ages 8 and up. Game takes about 20 minutes. So, we've got our game set up here on the table. We've got our bills laid out, we've got our bonus tokens, our tiebreak tokens, and of course, our trusty dice. The bills are valued from -5 up to 10. The values of -5, 0, 2, 5, and 10. Which are the same values as I have here on the dice. You see, we've got the 10, the 2, and the 5. We've also got an R. I'll tell you about that a little bit later, as long as I don't forget. We've also got the tiebreak tokens here that I'll explain to you in a moment. So, the game begins with one player rolling the dice. It's the player with the most money in their pockets, by the way. I think that's kind of cute. We roll the dice, and we look at the result. Here we've got a 10 and a 5, okay? So now, everybody around the table has a choice. Are they going to take a bill, the value 10, or are they going to take a bill of the value 5? They can also decide to secure the stake that they have in front of them, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a moment. So, on the first turn, we don't really have a choice. I'm going to take a 10, or I'm going to take a 5. Well, let's take a 10, why not? Because at the end of the game, the player with the most money wins. So I'm going to take the 10 and I'm going to put it in front of myself like that. Play then passes on to the next player in clockwise order. They roll the die, but don't forget, everybody has that choice to make. They can either take the 10 or the 5. It's up to them. So the next player rolls the dice, and now there's a 10 and an R. Now, I told you I would tell you about the R. This is a perfect opportunity to do it. The R is a wild. It means you can take a bill of any value here on the table. So if I want, I can take the -5. Why on earth would I do that? I'll tell you about that in a moment. Let's imagine I decide to take the -5, okay? Play moves around to the next player. They roll the dice. Oh my gosh, we've got double 5s. What does that mean? Everybody yells, Rollie, as soon as doubles are rolled. If anybody around the table has a 5 in their stake, they immediately lose not only the 5s that they have in their stake in front of them, but they lose their entire stake. They lose absolutely everything. So if you've been sitting there for 10 minutes, building up and building up and building up the money in front of you, and somebody rolls a double, it could even be you, and you could end up losing absolutely everything. Now in this situation, right, let's say I've got a 10, a 0, and a -5. Doesn't affect me. I'm all right. So I get to keep playing. Now, I also told you that at the beginning of a turn, somebody rolls the dice, as long as it's not a double, they roll a 5 and a 0, I can choose to secure my money. And that will save me from what just happened. So what I could do is, instead of taking a 5 or a 0, I could take all of my bills and flip them over, okay, to their wallet side, like so, okay? And then I put them down in front of me with the wallet side up to show that this money is now secure. I can't take bills for the rest of the round, but now at least I can't lose my money if there's a crash. So that's a good way of holding on to your money. The first player to secure their money takes the face-up tiebreak token on the table. I'll tell you about how those work in a second. After a crash, we flip the new tiebreak token face up onto the table, and we play a new round with the dice going around the table. The people who didn't lose anything in the crash now have a bit of pressure on them because they've got money in front of them that they could lose right away if it happens. So this is where the push your luck comes in. Am I going to take more bills? Am I going to be secure and put my money into my wallet here? Good questions to ask yourself. Play continues for 7 rounds, or until 2 stacks of bills have been depleted, at which point the round ends and we go into final scoring. Now, the first thing we do is we're going to put our bills out on the table. Let's imagine, okay, that I've got this in front of me. Okay, I've got all this. I went crazy. I got a pile of bills, and I'm looking pretty good. Okay, and this player over here has a bunch of -5s. They've got a 0. They've got a couple of 2s. Okay? We're all going to have lots of bills in front of us at the end of the game if we played well. Okay? So let's imagine we've got this in front of us. We start off by counting to see how many of each bill we have. So -5s, this player has 3. I've only got 1. This means that this player here wins the 100 bonus token because they have the most -5s. So they win that. I've got 1. Let's say another player has 2. They win the 70. That goes off to them. And I'm in 3rd place and I get the 40. So that goes in front of me. We do the same thing for the others. But look, we've both got 2 0. We've both got 1 0. Nobody else around the table took any zeros. What do we do in the case of a tie? Well, that's when we look at our tiebreaker tokens. I've got a 4. My opponent has a 7. They win the tiebreak, and they get 80 for having the most. And because I came in second, I get 50 for having the second most. Nobody else took a 0. Nobody gets the 30. And we calculate it on until all of the bonus tokens are given away. And then we count up all of the values on our bills, all of the values on our bonus tokens, and the player with the most at the end of the game is the winner. And that, my friends, is Rollie. Step right up and have some fun.